everybody, and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions. Well, the coronavirus has absolutely screwed everything up, hasn't it? We're in unprecedented times when it comes to sport. The Football League season has been suspended till at least April, so I should be bringing you a review of Oxford versus MK Dons this afternoon, but I can't do that! And it's extremely frustrating for everybody. I just don't know what to do. Now there is no football or sport on television. What do? Do we go into a blind panic? I started doing these reviews when Oxford played Lincoln in about the middle of September, so there are a few games at the start of the season that I haven't reviewed yet. So I thought I'd take you all the way back to August the 3rd, where Oxford played their opening game of the season away to Sunderland. So here is my review for Sunderland versus Oxford United. So it's very strange going into these games, watching them again, knowing what we know now, as opposed to when we watched them live back in August. On the opening day, everybody's full of a lot of optimism, but there's also a lot of uncertainty as well. Oxford came off the back of a strange season the year before, if you remember back that far. Start of it was absolutely dreadful, and then it slowly got better as the season went on and actually finished really well. We lost a few key players over the summer, and Oxford were slow to bring players in. I think it was only until about the last week or so before the season started that we started to see some transfer activity. Like a lot of things, as I just said, there's a lot of uncertainty, but playing a side that's expected to be one of the promoted sides at the end of the season, and clearly one of the biggest side, if not the biggest side in the division. You know it's going to be a tough test, but you're hoping it's going to be the sort of tough test that we overcame quite a number of years ago now when we beat Pompey 4-1 on the opening day, as opposed to what happened last year where we played a tough test in Barnsley and got absolutely destroyed, and that really derailed us for the opening number of weeks really. So yeah, fingers crossed on this one. You don't know what to expect. Let's dive into some team news. So there are 4 Oxford players making their debut this afternoon. Alex Goran, Tariq Fosu, Chris Cadden and Ben Woodburn. Remember him? No Taylor as of yet. He doesn't come in till about, I think, the 4th game of the season against Burton. So Mackie was up front on his own. But Ben Woodburn was a bit of a coup. He was a signing that's come in from Liverpool. Very recognised name. I think he's already had international experience and scored a goal on the international stage as well. So a really exciting player for Oxford to bring in at this level. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does this afternoon. Obviously, we know further down the line he's been out for a long time with a bad injury. So I'm really interested to go back and see what he did in this game. Looking at Sunderland, there's no bones about it. This squad is exceptional. They should have gone up last season. They narrowly missed out to Charlton in a playoff final. And they will be desperate to go up this time. Just look at that squad. Just look at that bench. So much talent, so much experience in there. You know this is going to be a difficult game. So we know the result of this one, but let's pretend that we don't. Let's pretend that we don't know what's going to happen, and let's go in and look at it with all the vim and vigour and excitement of an opening day fixture. And this was a really enjoyable game going back to watch it. There was a lot of energy, a lot of intensity, which you don't always necessarily get on the opening day of the season. It was a packed house at the Stadium of Light, but still empty enough so you could see empty seats, but the crowd certainly made a lot of noise, and I'm sure that made the players rise to the occasion. And one that ended in a draw, and I'm sure one that both sides will feel they could have got more out of it. But as it was, it did end. Sunderland 1, Oxford United 1. So the game was really ebbed and flowed all the way through. Both sides kind of had their share of being on top of the other one. Oxford started the game really well. Foster and Woodburn and Brannigan combined well in the early exchanges. In about the 4th minute, Foster got in behind with a good ball from Brannigan. Nearly got the ball over to Mackie. He could have shot and scored himself, but it was very, very close. And good signs for Fosu at the start of the game. Sunderland came back up the other end. McNulty found space on the edge of the box and made Eastwood produce a good save. And this is the way the game went. It was very ebb and flow all the way through. But when Oxford got their foot on the ball, they played some really nice football. Woodburn and Fosu stood out in the early throw-ins for Oxford, and it was those two that provided the first goal of the game. Sunderland were really sloppy clearing their lines and were caught in possession. Woodburn with the challenge played a simple ball through to Fosu, and that left Sunderland wide open. Fosu ran in on goal and made a really nice finish over McLaughlin in the Sunderland goal. 2-0. Really good start for Oxford. Exceptional goal from Fosu. Boy, I hope we keep him around for the whole season. And there was a period there where Oxford were on top of Sunderland for a while, and they nearly made it 2-0. A corner came in. Yeah, I know, we nearly scored from a corner. I think the referee must have known how bad we are. He can't have Oxford scoring from a set piece. Rob Dickey Rose headed into the empty net, only for the referee to blow and give a foul. It was a bit of a head scratcher when you look it back. You can't see anything obvious, but Mackie is impeding. He is standing there blocking off a defender and the keeper. The referee's seen it. He's given a foul. It's one of those ones that doesn't always get given. So it's frustrating that it was given at this time, because if we went 2-0 up, the fans could have turned on that Sunderland side. So a very entertaining first half came to an end with Oxford leading by a goal to 0. Both sides looked pretty good in possession, and I would say the only thing that was really lacking for either side was that final ball, was that final pass or that final cross. There were a few times where Sunderland played balls across Oxford's areas and the striker had made the wrong run. Same for Oxford at the other end, but certainly an enjoyable game and surprisingly evenly matched sides. I thought of the new signings, all of them were looking good, really. Woodburn looked really tidy, but Goran was exceptional in midfield. Cadden was impressing on the wing, finding space up and down the wing every time. And Fosu looked a constant menace every time he got the ball. The only thing that frustrated me is Oxford went into a kind of what we hold mode rather a little bit too early for my liking. I thought we were doing well in the game, doing well enough to kind of still match Sunderland on a kind of tit-for-tat kind of basis. We went into this kind of style of trying to wind the fans up as early as like the 20th minute, really. Trying to wind the fans up, trying to annoy them, trying to slow the game down. And I really don't think we needed to do that. And by the end of the half, we were sitting really deep, clearly just trying to hold on to it. And I actually thought we were better than that, and we'd have been better off trying to be a bit more on the front foot. But when you think back how bad we were away from home at the start of last season, I'm going to guess Robinson was trying to just make everything a little bit more hard to beat. So you knew there would be a backlash from Sunderland, and unfortunately Oxford couldn't withstand it for very long. 49th minute, they were playing a ball in and around the area. Oxford looked a little bit stretched. Gooch got down the outside. Ruffles lunged in on him. He thought he won the ball, but he certainly played the man as well, and a foul was given. Gooch stepped up to take the penalty, tucked it away really tidily, put Eastwood the wrong way, and we were back to 1-1 really quickly. Crowd right back into it. And you're just hoping that Oxford can recover from that, and it's not just going to be one-way traffic all the way in the second half. And credit to Oxford, it wasn't that case at all. Yes, Sunderland definitely had more possession in the second half, and you would say they controlled the game a lot more, but Oxford certainly had periods where they were on top, certainly had periods where they pressed Sunderland back, and had they taken a couple of chances that came their way, there was one for Woodburn, one from Brannigan, they certainly could have ended up winning this game. Sunderland likewise will feel they could have won the game as well. They had a lot of possession, they had a lot of chances to get balls into the box. Oxford defended really well, but Sunderland, you would have thought maybe something could have broken to them a little bit fairer, maybe their strikers could have been a little bit sharper, and they could have won this game as well. In the end, Sunderland will talk about Oxford's time wasting. It was pretty terrible, I have to say, but I will say, you show me a side that has not done that before. Sunderland fans, if you're telling me when you're in the Premier League and you're playing Man United and Liverpool and you're winning, don't tell me you weren't time wasting in games. I won't believe you. Just think Oxford didn't need to resort to that tactic quite so much. I think they should have had a little bit more confidence in their ability to beat a Sunderland side without resorting to the time wasting tactics. I certainly thought Oxford, when they got the ball down and played football, played some fantastic stuff. There were periods of the game where people drifted in and out of the game because we had to defend a lot more. But when people like Henry got their foot on the ball, I mean, we know what James Henry can do. Woodburn looked very, very tidy in his possession. He looked, you can tell he's played at a higher level. As I've already mentioned, Fosu was excellent as well. And Mackie, for his credit, I know I'm a bit of a bagger on him, he worked his socks off up front. He ran after every lost cause, because that was one of the things going into it. We didn't have any replacement strikers. Gee, I wonder where we've heard that one before. But Mackie did at least work really hard. And final thing I would say about the work rate for both sides was excellent, but defensively, Oxford looked really solid. I can't remember too many times in the second half Eastwood having many saves to make. I actually can't think of any saves that he had to make in the second half. As a defensive unit, Oxford looked really solid. A lot of that came from Alex Goran, but the main standout performer for me was Rob Dickie. I thought he was amazing. Last season, he always had a mistake in him. This one, he looked composed and he looked in control all the way through. He was solid at the back. He won countless headers. His decision-making was generally excellent, and he looked really good on the ball as well. So just taking it forward, we know Dickie's had an excellent season. You can see that really started from the opening game of the season. You can tell why he's been made captain. He really was fantastic. So we start with a draw, which is a million times better than a 4-0 defeat, what was it? I think it was, to Barnsley a year before, and we would have snapped your hand off for a draw at the start of the game. Having watched the game back, we could have nicked it, but you'd have to settle for it. That'll just about do it for this review, and I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a like, and if you like the content on the channel, please think about subscribing. If you do subscribe, hit that notify bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. I know it's disappointing we haven't got any new games to go for, but this is the way it's going to be. Hopefully we can get back to some new reviews in the early part of August, but I think that's a real big fingers crossed at the moment. So we're going to carry on with these retrospective looks at the season. The next one will be the Peterborough at home. We'll be back with some content on the channel. It is going to be very difficult. Me and Tom are going to have to scratch our heads and come together with something. I think the first one's going to be a video about what's going to happen when everything comes back after this coronavirus scare. So thanks very much for watching, and remember, if you're looking for detailed football analysis, you're probably in the wrong place.